Okay, so chatting. Now, chatting, as many of you may know, is where you're going to make the money, whether you're doing normal OFM or AI OFM. Now, why am I qualified to talk about this? Well, I've been in the game for over 2 years now, and also very recently launched our own chatting agency called Chatterlinkk. Now, the only reason we were able to do this is because we have unbelievable chatting ratios. A lot of people were requesting that my agency takes over their chatting because it's just on another par to theirs. So we began a chatting agency so that people could use our services and our chatters to be able to chat on their own accounts. And you could do the same as well. Either way, I'm going to do a lesson now on chatting and how to milk your customers for the most amount of money possible on OnlyFans, on Fanvue, on fucking Fansly, whatever you're using to chat to your customers or wherever you're funneling your customers to. You can also be operating as an agency or as an individual model. Chatting strategies should be pretty much the same. So, what is chatting? Chatting is sales, right? So customers are going to subscribe to your OnlyFans or Fanvue pages so that they can talk to their favorite models or creators. They're not going just to sub and look through the main feed. A lot of people believe that that is what people are subscribing to these accounts for. And I think that part of the reason why chatting works so well and why you need to have such a deep understanding of chatting is that you need to understand that these people aren't just there to watch porn, they're there to talk to these models. So we're going to give them the opportunity to chat to their favorite models, and in doing so we're going to charge them a shit ton of money. Now, when you're talking to a girl on OnlyFans or Fanvue, it's extremely rare that it is the actual girl behind the screen doing the chatting, if they're chatting successfully. That's just the way it is. Models are getting lazy. They're hiring chatting teams, they're hiring agencies to manage their whole page, and there's a huge demand for this anyway, so why would they need to chat? So if you are chatting to a girl on OnlyFans, sorry to break the news to you, but it's probably not her. Anyway, OnlyFans earnings. Now, there is a direct correlation between the amount of conversations that happen on an OnlyFans account and the amount of money that comes into that account. The more conversations that happen, the more money that's going to come in to that account. If you're doing things correctly, of course. If you're just having random conversations with them, it's very unlikely that money's going to be streaming in at the same rate. However, even if you were just having basic conversations, not upselling in DMs or nothing like this, you would still retain a lot more subscribers. So either way, the more conversations that happen, the more money is going to come into the account. Now, a lot of models do just make money from subscriptions alone, but that requires a huge amount of customers to be able to come into the account. If your model's not famous, say you're managing just some random girl from London, do you need quality over quantity? Meaning that you could have literally one guy spending his life savings on that model, but to equal that amount in subscriptions, it's going to be 10 times harder. Let's say he puts fucking 30k into your model's account just by buying content, just by tipping her, stuff like that. To equal that in subscriptions, if your subscription is $10, you're going to need, 3,000 subscriptions to be able to match that. So that's a lot more on the marketing front, which is a lot more expensive anyway. So realistically, you're going to not only save money, but multiply money when you chat correctly on these accounts. Now, identifying your target market. Who is subscribing to OnlyFans pages? A lot of people ask me this. A lot of people, especially because I manage AI girls, they wonder who is subscribing to these models. The answer is losers. These people, they have never spoken to a real woman in their lives. And if they have, they may be too old and past that kind of stage where they're excited by chatting to young girls because they'd be a fucking creep and they look ugly anyway, so girls aren't going to speak to them, and they're looking to kind of relive that experience, so they're willing to spend money to be able to do that. So with this in mind, we can figure out what losers actually want from this exchange and how we can actually drain them of the most amount of money, because that is how we make money. So, rats. What do rats crave? Cheese. Now, what is cheese in this instance? The rat's obviously the customers, right? What is cheese? Cheese is not the lack of personal hygiene. Cheese is female interaction. They want cheese. We have to make these rats crave cheese even more than they already do. So, how do you make rats crave cheese even more than they naturally crave cheese? Well, we give them an overwhelming amount of it, and more than they've ever had before. So, we need to set a rat trap so that these rats are in our control. And it's very, very simple. And our trap is basically that we treat them so well, so that they haven't been treated like that before, so that they aren't going to leave us. They cannot imagine a life without our model, and there's no going back from this relationship they've created on OnlyFans. And at this point, we can now start earning money. So, the rats are trapped. What now? Now we can actually reap the rewards of our slow building phase. So if you start off with the strategy that I just suggested, which is that you actually create simps, what that's going to do is make them a more effective customer. So sure, you can get someone in and they can sub to your model and you can instantly make $100, $200 off them. Great, brilliant. They feel, like they're the perfect customer. But are they going to come back? Probably not, because that customer is now only a customer. There's no relationship aspect. They don't feel any connection to that model. They spoke to her, she drained them of money and then probably left. They're not going to feel great about it. They're not going to come back for more. And basically, that is not what you want in this industry. You want long-term customers, because long-term customers revolve their life around the model and therefore spend more money. And that is exactly what good chatters do. So I'm going to go over scenarios, storylines, scripts, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Basically, these are a set of stories that we're going to have pre-ready to be available to basically be able to sell a maximum amount of content in a fun way for the customer. So we can play into customers' fantasies, and basically we're disguising the true intentions of the conversation, which is to drain as much money as possible. However, we're disguising it in like a fun story way that plays into their fantasies, and we're going to have images pre-ready and storylines pre-set out for these customers. So if you're managing real girls, you're going to have them take these scenarios and you're going to have them pre-made. If you're with AI girls, you can do that whenever the fuck you want. You can do that mid-conversation if you really wanted. That's absolutely fine as well. That's one of the benefits of AI. So we start off slow and steady. We're going to kick off a scenario. So I'm going to use the example, which is a shower scenario. Very common. Especially this girl is either getting in the shower or just coming out of the shower, whatever, it doesn't really matter. So we basically kick it off. And then we're going to move on. And the conversation, the idea is that it slowly builds up in intensity and in explicitity, and meaning that we can charge more and more as the conversation goes on, and they're going to keep spending more, because once you rope them in, you can't just, they're not going to be able to leave. It's an addiction. They're not going to be able to just stop there. So we're then going to go to cheap-ish. This depends massively on the looks of your girl, the quality of the content, and realistically the IQ of your customers. So many metrics to think about there, but if your girl is extremely good looking, you can charge a lot more for this content. If you have an ugly female that you're managing, or an AI girl that's of really shit quality, are you going to be able to charge maximum amount? No. But the same goes if your customer is super low IQ, they're not going to really care what the quality of content is, if that makes sense. So you have to base it on many different things, which is where experience comes in, of course. So we send a cheap-ish piece of content to test if the customer is in a spending mood. Now this is going to be some semi-explicit stuff just to kind of warm the conversation up, and again, mostly to test whether the customer is going to spend money today. Then we're going to advance even more. We're going to go full explicit, and we're going to charge a decent amount for this. I'm going to go over some pricing structures in the next slide, but I'm going to charge a decent amount for this. And then bust. We're going to go all the way. We're going to make it super expensive, and they're not going to be able to stop at this point. They're going to have to buy this content. So, pricing structures. What are we charging these customers, and what content are they buying? So there's no set structure. I can't just give you, charge a tenner for this, charge $100 for this, because again, every metric's different. Every chatter's different. Not every chatter will be able to draw the same amount of money from customers as other chatters will be able to. That's just the game. That's why you need experience, and that is exactly why you need good quality content. So again, that in mind, there's no set structure, but I'll give you a rough idea now. So we're going to start off with a free image. Now, let's go with the shower example, just for all of these, and we'll run through them so you get a good idea. So it's going to be very implicit stuff. This is literally a free image. You don't want to give away any nudes for free, pretty much ever, unless they're in return for something separate, but that's a separate conversation anyway. So you want suggestive content, for example, a towel wrapped around your model, which is either just getting in the shower, just got out, that's fine. That's a free image. That is how you kick off the storyline. You can already be having a conversation, or you can send this out as a mass message just for free. Be like, look, I'm just about to get in the shower, blah, blah, blah. Either way, you can bang this out anytime. Now, $10 to $25 range, you want some semi-nude or very lightly explicit images. So for example, she drops the towel, or she lowers it a bit. That is going to be worth $10 to $25, depending on the quality of your model. Shit. Now, $30 to $100, full nude images, custom images or videos. Not full way explicit, because that's going to be worth a lot more. However, $30 to $100 is a very decent price range to either purchase custom content or full nude content. You shouldn't really be selling less than this if it's full nude stuff. Now, $100 plus is where you sell very explicit videos or custom videos for fetishes. If you have a customer with a fetish, that's an absolute fucking goldmine. Keep them very sweet and keep them buying content that is fetish related. For example, feet. They want to see loads of foot stuff. Charge them up the fucking ass for it, because they specifically want this stuff and they have an addiction to this stuff. They're going to pay more for it. $100 plus. Don't go any less. Like, if a customer's begging you, please, look, I can't afford this, say, all right, cool, I'm worth that. That's what this content's worth. So you just don't get it. They're going to end up coming back to you when they have the money. If that is a true excuse that they're using, they're going to end up coming back, because they know that this content is worth the money in your eyes, so therefore in their eyes, they're going to keep coming back until they can afford that content. So stick by your guns. If you lower your price to $50 from $100 and it's extremely explicit, they're only going to want that content at that price. They're not going to pay more for it in the future, are they? So you're lowering your standards, you're lowering your customer range. So if they won't buy for that, they're probably not even worth fucking having around for that long anyway. So $100 plus is where you sell the explicit stuff. Now you become the master. So an average successful conversation will leave you with over $100. There's no real doubt about this. Obviously there's different types of successful conversations. You can have relationship building conversations that go really well, but your successful conversation where you sell a lot of shit is going to leave you with over $100. So if you're just getting into this and you're not really sure, you haven't really been in the industry much, over $100 is what you can expect from, a good conversation. It does take experience, it takes a lot of awareness, it takes education and a lot of patience. That's just the game. That's the same with anything. You can't just go into some random shit and be the expert and fucking watch one video and you're going to be the expert. It's not how it's going to work. But you will become the master of simps eventually. You're going to understand how their brain works. You're going to understand exactly how to draw the maximum amount of money from them possible. Aftercare. You need to look after your nerds. This is extremely important. So, the most common mistake that I see by far in chatting, you can get really good, you can build them up, you can draw shit tons of money out of them, but you need these guys' trust. They're nerds. You need to remember why they're there. They're there for female interaction. most people will draw money from them and leave. Sure, you've just drawn $200 from this guy, he's come into the account, drawn $200 of him, and then you just left the conversation. That's fucking stupid, because these guys, they want relationships, they want more than just to be sold content. They don't want to feel like a customer, because then they're going to leave. So what you do want to do is, once you manage to sell them content, you want to make sure they're okay, you want to brush their fucking pubes, you want to make sure that you give the 5-star girlfriend experience that they want, and that is going to lead to more future sales, and they're never going to stop coming back to you. This is me, these are nerds, I'm fighting off the nerds, and this is me as Giga Chad. Bang. So, again, I'll reiterate this. We have a chatting agency. If you run AI models, if you run normal models on Fanvue, specifically for now, it's Fanvue at the time this video is released, we have a chatting agency, the #1 chatting agency for specifically Fanvue out at the moment. It's called Chatterlinkk. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to apply. We do have certain requirements that you meet in terms of marketing. We can't just sit on an empty account all day, obviously. We have a full English chatting team. We will chat on your account for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. No doubt about it. And these guys are trained up to be experts in this exact realm. So we're very experienced, we know what we're doing, and we know how to train our chatters correctly. This is a results page from literally today. As of today, it is the 10th of the 10th, 2024. These are results from yesterday's chatting session. Now, bearing in mind, this may look quite shit, but we are a brand new agency. We've only got a couple models on the team, and they're pretty low level right now. This isn't including our own models, obviously. This is just part of the chatting team. As well as this, if you are brand new to the business model, being AI OFM, you want to learn how to create your own AI models, how to market them on social media, and how to chat to fans to draw the most amount of money, as well as having a network full of people and access to coaches who are experts in the space. The AI model method course is $47, and we literally teach you everything from ground zero, cheaper than a fucking night out. If you want to change your life and you want to start a business model, this is the fucking one, and this is the cheapest and most effective course on the market, teaching you exactly what you need to know to get into it. So, if you need a chatting team, we're here. If you need a course, we're here. DM me on Instagram or on Telegram for more information about this, and I'll see you in the next one.